Hello and welcome to Crush Your Mountain Wellness. My name is 𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒔. I'm the certified health and life coach of Chrysalis Transformational Coaching based in Raleigh, North Carolina. So happy to have you with us today. And I'd like to invite you to subscribe, like, and also make sure to hit the notification bell so that you get every bit of information that's upcoming. And please, by all means, look at some of our previous episodes that have excellent guests and excellent information. Now, today I have with me Mr. 𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒄𝒏. Our discussion is excellent. Founder and director of Fit Living Academy, Raoof helps people find fitness and take the fear out of health, giving them access to more vibrant energy. The path to physical and emotional fitness paves the way to optimal health and wellness. In his 20 years as a lifestyle coach and consultant, Evan has helped thousands of people turn back the clock, helping individuals to regain their chronological age and their chronological health as well. Well, he helps them to overcome fat loss, fight disease, and boost their immunity. Transformation begins when you decide you deserve more out of life. That's his saying. Now, in today's episode, we talk about why we as men, I say we as men, I mean all of us who are men, must maintain our muscle mass and strength as we get older. We share personal stories that help motivate others, and we hope it motivates you to take action and crush through the inertia of life, as it were, that mountain that's keeping us from our health and wellness. So sit back and listen carefully. Understand that manhood is a standard, and I hope that you enjoy this great discussion with my friend and colleague, Mr. 𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒄𝒏. Today I have with me an incredible gentleman. He's the man that is going to take us all as men to school in terms of why it's important for us to improve our fitness, especially when we have hit that 50-year-old mark. We have passed the 50. Look, okay, there's this whole thing about dad bods, all right? Okay, and I don't quite know what that is, except for, those that, when I'm called dad nowadays, they say, I want to be like dad, okay? That's the way I like to be. I like to encourage others to be. But it's not about looking good. And this is what we really want to impress upon people today on Crush Your Mountain Wellness. Well, let's bring on the dean, founder, and owner of Fitness Academy. Let's talk to 𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒄𝒏. Hey, man, it's so great to have you with us today.
Hey, Henry, it's good to be here. What a great introduction. I appreciate that so much. I love being here. It reminds me of my kids telling me a joke the other day. It asked me the question, like, Dad, do you have a dad bod? Or are you a father figure? So like, do you have a father figure? So like, it's a good question about, like, it is about how you feel, not so much how you look as we age. So, I thought that was kind of funny when you talked about dad bods. So
that's true. And I like that, being not a dad bod, but a father figure.
Do I have a father figure?
Why is it important for us as men to improve our health, improve our wellness, especially as we approach, cross, and go beyond the age of 50?
Henry, life is so important and so precious to us. And I think as we're younger, we have a reason for, most people don't have an experience of playing sports in high school or college, or they haven't been very active. So like learning how to be healthy is an opportunity to be present in our life. We have families and we have things we want to accomplish. And if we don't have our health, we take it for granted when we're younger. As we get older, like over 40, over 50, the opportunity is that we want to be present for all the moments in our life for our family, and we're running business and we want to be more profitable. And it really comes down to your mindset of where you stand. And we have the 4 pillars of mindset, mobility, muscle, and metabolism, and trying to help people understand the value of what that is. And it isn't about your health, and it isn't about exercise or fitness. It's about the moments you share with your family and being present as a leader in your community or for your family. and how do you attack that? And I've actually looked at different ways to communicate, because I'll know we're talking about health, but it is learning a new skill set for us men to really learn things about yourself and your body, what you're truly capable of.
That's so very true. When we think about how we as men move, if we're not used to moving a certain way, that's when the accidents happen. You see,
yeah.
when we don't stretch our muscles out, build the muscles up, and create the state of mind in terms of what our bodies can do. When something comes out of the ordinary, and we reflexively act or react, but our bodies are not used to making those movements, that's where the injury comes in. And those injuries happen more rapidly and more frequently, or more likely, if we haven't taken the time to improve, maintain our fitness after 50.
So Henry, you make a good point. Yeah, I want to share with you, because this is really, you're talking about fitness, and I look at physically fit and emotionally strong. And optimal health is really, I talk about two things. Most people, men, we look at the show muscles. Those are the muscles that we see, and we say, well, I can never achieve that body, whatever. That body's not important. There's fitness and there's competition, bodybuilding. That's one thing. And we get away from that. But our body is broken down to three different muscles. Your skeletal, cardiac, and smooth muscles. The cardiac muscles and the smooth muscles are really ones that are really functioning to really support blood flow and how your organs work and the blood vessels, etc. If their body is nourished, you build the muscle, and if it's nourished properly, it will actually allow you your muscles and your joints and your organs to function so much better. Simply put, if you actually take care of your body like this, you will feel better, you will be stronger emotionally and physically, and your body will be working better. So you actually will fight disease a lot better than most people that don't. And we can only control certain things. But if you do come down with cancer or some other illness, it will be better for you to survive it. And you also will, your mental frame of mind will be better, because you're going to be physically fit, emotionally strong to be supporting that.
Well, now that really combines the concepts of mobility, and metabolism with nutrition, as well as endothelial function. The smooth muscle, the cardiac muscle, we're talking about your endothelial system, whereby now we're talking about blood flow. And that's so important when it comes to men, you see, because while some people love recreationally to use those little blue pills, we would like to be able to do that, utilize that without having the chemical aid. Okay, and gentlemen, you know what we're talking about. So the idea is this: taking time to, as you mentioned, to do your stretching, taking time to work on the functional muscles as opposed to the pretty or cool muscles. You see, the cool muscles are there for a purpose as well. But the whole idea is to again build that system that will actually keep us moving around internally for a long, long time. And thus on the outside will also be good and have that bounce back ability, that physical resilience. Talk to us a little bit more about the connection between mobility and metabolism.
Okay, well, mobility is muscle. I mean, mobility is the first thing. As I said before, mindset, because you have to be in the right frame of mind to be coachable. And also, whether you work with a coach or et cetera, learning about your body. If you have trouble moving around, it's going to be mental. It'll impact your mental frame of mind. And sometimes just simple mobility stretching exercises can help you move a little bit pain-free. And then, based on that, you are building strength, more mobility. And as you build more muscle, you need to nourish that muscle with proper nutrition. The biggest, Our body is almost 70% or more water. Most people don't drink enough water during the day. Most people don't have enough fruits and vegetables during the day. Little secret, fruits and vegetables are about 70 or 80% water. So if you're having more vegetables and less water, you're still going to hit your mark in terms of proper amounts of hydration if you're doing the right thing. But the opportunity is really nourishing your body to really be present, because your body, it'll nourish your metabolism so that you can actually perform your daily tasks of living during the day. We're not talking about sports and being an athlete. We're talking about being present for what's most important to you. If what's most important to you in life, you want to be present for, to me, it's my family and really being top notch. I know I'm in the field, right? So I really need to be top notch because I'm an example of my business. But any business owner, this is the thing too, working in a business or being present as a leader in your community, in your business or in your department, as if you're an employee, how do you take a stand for stuff? It's your own, how you stand in your posture. Your physical ability takes a stand for that. I always say your posture is really not only physical, but how you take a stand for in the world. And when you take care of your health like that, you're showing your family you're a leader, and you're leading by example and the people around you.
To your point, when we think about posture, okay, they even talk about posturing and political posturing, cultural posturing, etc. So the idea of posturing is sending a message. We only communicate, let's say, about 10% with our voice. Much of our communication is with our bodies and our facial expressions. So when we assume the right posture, when we have a posture due to the fact that we've maintained the proper musculature, now we are also projecting the message of health. We're projecting a certain message of confidence. I have an interesting experience, years ago. I would, give talks and over on the eastern side of things down here in North Carolina, and one of the people that would talk to me would always say, you're so confident, which I didn't respond to them, but in my mind I'm going, really, me, But why was that? It was because all that time there were certain exercises that I did that kind of kept me upright and kept my back straight. And when you move a certain way, when your body is able to move a certain way, it projects that confidence. But also, guess what? It also allows you to feel a certain confidence, because when you're exercising this way and we're maintaining it, it's, it releases those endorphins in your body. It releases the oxytocins in your system. That allows you to have a positive feeling, and that's where your projection of confidence comes in. But now, why is it that men who are just your average Joe need to, and I'll tell them this, okay, and better, I won't say why, I'll ask this: what 3 things can the average Joe, okay, do maybe every day to just maintain their wellness in terms of movement and musculature? Just give us the 3 things that I can do.
It's always challenging to give it's not challenging to give the 3 things, but everybody's different where they start. But I think it's important for us to really understand the continuum between mindset and metabolism, because all the areas are important. If I exercise, I need to nourish those muscles by eating the right types of foods and nourishing my body. But also too, there's very much studies out there about the mind and muscle connection, and also the relationship from your gut to your brain, gut health. And so you can do any one of the areas, but if you can't, you got to focus on each one of them. And you're not going to be 100% each area all the time, but be present for your mindset. So the first one would be your mindset, to be meditating every day or doing something that set up for a positive, successful day. We all have changes, but how do we make the best of it? And then the second thing is really looking at someone, how do you feel? Do you feel you have back knee or hip or joint pain? If you do, then you may need to stretch or do some mobility training a little bit more, be more specific about what are those areas of discomfort. Because if it's coming from the muscle, more likely it's a mobility issue. If it's coming from the ligaments or the joints, it may be more of a structural issue where you need to be more mindful of, like, seeing a more professional than just exercise. But those are the two things to start off with. And then as you get more stronger and feel better, you're going to want to get into resistance training to really feel it. And there's some moves that we don't really need to, some basic exercises you can do. But the posture, you talk about posture and confidence. If your body is nourished the right way, your brain function is going to be much better. So you make better decisions. And that allows you those oxytocins and other hormones to really be working better for you. There's two hormones, leptin and ghrelin. When you eat, if those don't function properly, the signals tell you whether you're full or whether you're hungry. And if those signals are turned off, you're not nourishing your body. So we need to nourish that to really start feeling better. And again, you mentioned about a sense of confidence. It's really important for that to happen, and then you can make better decisions and plan it out. And I look at this, to me, it's when I was younger. I know we spoke about this, and I know we talked about this, but I was born with a form of cerebral palsy that impacted the right side of my body. And the reason I exercised when I started is because the physical therapist, Dr. Ring, he said, you better do those exercises or you could be in a wheelchair. And so I pushed myself to be better. And as I've grown, had children, now it's more, how do I be a better person for my family? But that being said, is being mindful of where you're at so you can make better decisions. And the experience gives you access to just feeling better about what you're doing in life and taking care of those moments you share with your family. And also, if you run a business, it also takes a stand. You take a stand for your leadership role in the company. You're setting an example for people around you.
I love that. The idea is, again, understanding mindset, because you mentioned the leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin is the one that is the signal, the hormone that basically tells you that you're hungry. That's the one that the food industry really loves to get you going on.
Yeah.
See, but the leptin is the one that tells you when you're full. So again, the three things we're talking about now, we talk about meditating, which is your mindset first in the morning when you get up, taking the time to focus on yourself, taking the time to settle with yourself, taking time to get control of those automatic negative thoughts that come up, that will come up, but also
it's me, myself. I always have those conversations with me, myself, and I, but I'm the one who makes the choice.
Exactly. Also, when you think about it, I myself, years and years and years ago, I had the privilege of working with cerebral palsy. So my heart goes out to you. I know it's amazing to see that you've made the progress that you have, and you've done.
I appreciate that. Henry, I want to share this because there's different types of cerebral palsy. It impacts people. And I've been very fortunate to be able to help kids and adults just to be able to sit upright, to be able to move their wheelchair, be more independent. And I'm very lucky because it wasn't as severe as my people think. But that humbled me to really be present, to help people be present with their health. And, we're getting older. And this is the reason men need to be exercising and taking care of their body. You're never too young to start. And that's why I changed my communication about learning a new skill set, because it's a new skill to learn about how you can be present in the world, a new skill for you to be present of what your full potential is, your body has. And age isn't just a number. It doesn't mean anything anymore. 60 is a new 30, 70 is a new 40, 80 is a new 50, and 90 to be the new 60 soon. So, hey, it's what it is.
I'm gonna be 30 years old next March. Okay, and I'm happy about that. Okay, and I know I'm going to be 30 because I have to remind some folks that I'm old enough to be their grandfather. You know, and it's a nice feeling. But I'll tell you something else though. You know, as men, we don't realize that especially in this day and age, that when we do a lot more sitting down, and
Absolutely.
we're doing a lot. We're far more sedentary in our life, and we have access to highly palliative, highly addictive, high sugar food that our bodies are naturally going to adapt to the negative and in the negative. So what happens is now sarcopenia starts to set in and take over. The obesity that begins to swell our gut starts to take over because now the body's storing fat uncontrollably. So it's the balance is not there anymore. And what happens is it begins to say, well, you're not living life, so let's shorten the life. That's basically what comes down to. But as men, we really have to think, where do I want to be for my daughters, for my granddaughters, for my son, for my grandchildren, for my wife, for the rest of my family? And guess what? Let's just say that we're naturally ectomorphic, that we just don't put on weight. That's cool, but here's the problem with that. When we don't naturally build muscle, that sarcopenia becomes a bit more rapid. And
absolutely,
lose the muscle, we're also losing the bone density. As men, that's important too. We still want to be able to get out and cut our own grass. We still want to be able to cut out and chop our wood. And what about the decline of testosterone in men throughout the generations? Have you heard about that? And would you like to talk about that?
I'm not as familiar with the testosterone, but I do know that it lowers every year after age 40. As well as I know your muscle has the opportunity to decrease to 3 to 5% after age 40 every other year. So it's really important to really building muscle tissue or maintain it so that you can be present. And men can relate to this. It's performance, and we talk about sports. It's the performance in what kind of performance do you want to have every day? Do you want to take on the game of life every day to be present for your family? If you're on a business, you're busy and you want to be at your best self every day. And if you're not taking care of your body, you will not be your best self. And if you do not take care of your body, you will have more chance of injury or illness, and you'll be waiting. Then one day something's going to happen and you will have to recover. And so that's the cold hard truth. And so my question is, do you want to perform at your best level every single day? If the answer is yes, let's learn a new skill set to see how we can improve our performance every single day.
Absolutely. Now, here's what's really interesting. You mentioned a little while ago about the mind and the connection between the mind and the gut.
Yes.
And you see, there's the mind, and then there's the gut, and there's even the heart. There's Dr. 𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒄𝒊𝒅𝒆. She's one of the founders of the Heart Math Institute, and the amazing discoveries there that there are often more neurons in the heart than there are in the brain in some cases. In fact, there's more connection going from the heart, more communication coming from the heart to the mind. But interestingly enough, we use our minds to control the heart. But now our microbiome itself constitutes another way of communicating with the body, another mind, as it were. And all these things have to come into play. So now we're talking about nutrition from a three-dimensional way. We're talking about nutrition that will feed our microbiome, and that's come under attack in the past, 20, 30 years, since we had the antibacterial phenomenon with hands washings and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay, not that you shouldn't wash your hands. I'm saying, yes, wash your hands, but with the whole We kill 99.910% of the bacteria out there, the carpet bombing of our microbiome, you see? So if people seem to be getting dumber, we understand that that's also killing the good bacteria, much of which is in your brain, you know? So we think about all of these things. We have to give that nutrition, and men have to be a little bit more selective in terms of what we're going to eat. And we want to encourage us as men not to just brush this off and say, "Oh yeah, go ahead and hit that McDonald's every day. We don't care." You know, don't keep saying "supersize me." I'm loving it. You know, go on and make intelligent choices. Be mindful of what we put in our bodies, how we nourish our bodies, and then how we nourish our those around us, and how we build up our brothers, our fellow men.
Henry, I want to share a story with you because I think this is relevant, and this is related to my daughter when she was born. Like, my daughter's 13 years old, she's healthy and happy. But when she was born, they had twins, and she was born second because my son was on top of her. And an hour and a half after 2 hours after she was born, the nurses were frantic because they said, we need to give her TPN levels are low, and we need to make sure that she gets no nourishment to your body, or her brain will die and she will not be able to function properly. And then they said to me, well, you know, what do you have to do? She says, well, we have to make sure she eats every 2 to 3 hours. And I'm saying, this is a tiny baby that's infant, and they're saying 2 to 3 hours. And my experience is you need to nourish your body every 2 to 3 hours as an adult. So I kept getting upset with them. And long story short is, you know, they just need to nourish the body to be able to help her get enough nourishment to her brain and function properly. My takeaway from that was every time we don't eat enough food during the day, our body slowly dies. And when metabolism slows down, a lot of people, a lot of men, women, you know, they think because they are not eating enough food, they're cutting their calories, that they're going to be okay. But that's not the case, because if you don't have enough food, your body says, hey, listen, I know you're working really hard, but the truth of the matter is you don't have enough nourishment. So we're going to have to take it somewhere. We're going to have to take it from your muscles and your joints. And so you're going to be okay. That's what we're going to do. And so we really want to be mindful of what you're taking in as food and nourishing your body. Like we talked about the hormones, leptin and ghrelin. You know, those hormones are there for a reason, to give you a signal to say, you know, this is time to eat and this is time to stop eating. But if you don't eat enough food during the day or eat too much, those things get crossed and they can't tell you what to do. So you just do it by habit. Is it a good habit or bad habit? I don't know. It depends on if you finally get to realize that it's disrupting yourself during the day or disrupting your family.
And that's the key, to really think about those choices and those habits. Okay, because we are imperfect beings, we naturally tend to lean towards the negative, as it were, the thing that's going to kind of probably do us more harm than good. However, when we take the mindful path, then we can say, okay, I do need to eat, but now what can I choose that will taste good and make me feel good, but now in the long run make me feel and be even better? These are things, choices that we have to make. So go back to the point about hydration and the fruits and vegetables that we eat. You think about the fact that, you know, they say drink a certain amount of water, and that's true. We need water in our body, but oftentimes we tend to drink so much water that we flush out a lot of the naturally occurring electrolytes and that we need to think and to act and to function within our system. See, okay, we are electrical beings, you see?
Sure.
So the idea, go ahead.
You know, you mentioned about drinking too much water. I know that could be an issue, but more and more people, it's more the issue they're not drinking enough water. Right. And I agree. You're absolutely right in regards to drinking too much water, to be mindful, because you can't drink. But at the same time, if your physical activity is up there, you're going to need to drink more and eat more based on what your body stature is and your performance levels.
That's true.
You know, and so it's But that goes back to what I was saying about learning a new skill set. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a bit different body type. And, exercise may take a different form in everybody's routine, but also too is the opportunity is learning what's best for you and how to manage that time effectively. You don't need to spend a lot of time exercising. Learning a new skill is learning what types of foods to eat to nourish your body and being present for it. And you mentioned earlier, Henry, about, eating something you don't like to eat what you don't like. And, like I think about this running a business, right? There's things in business we don't like to do. We got to do it anyway. We want to be successful, right? The same thing with our body. We have to do it. And also, you may do a detox or do something to get a new way of being for your body. Because like a detox or a cleanse, it changes your palate. Cleanse the organs and the liver, but also change your palate. So you might not dislike something. And it is a habit, getting into a new habit of doing certain things. I remember when I stopped, I don't not drink, but I don't drink very much. But I remember when I made a conscious decision to stop drinking, I went to a bar. This was a long time ago. I went to a bar and I didn't know what to do with my hands because I wasn't drinking, and then you go order a glass of water and it makes oh, he wants a glass of water. And so like getting that feeling better about, okay, I know what I want to do.
That's the idea. Again, you're talking about the conscious steps, you see?
Yeah.
Bringing it, again, circling back to that conscious hydration. When we're drinking water, sometimes it's good to, as we keep in mind, that much of the fruits and vegetables that we eat have those electrolytes. Okay?
Yes.
We need the magnesium, we need the potassium. So if we're going to hydrate, okay, I'm not going to tell people about Gatorade and stuff like that. Okay, I have my personal concerns about that. What I will tell you is grabbing, say, your vegetables, your fruits, creating your smoothie or a nice hydration beverage from your naturally occurring stuff in there. Like I said, we can do it. Hey, if you want to do it with the beautiful colors and phosphorescent stuff, I don't know if you're going to wind up glowing in a couple of years. But I do know that if we can get our good organic leafy greens, if we can get the proper juices, if we can get the proper fruits, and we can put that in something that we can create for ourselves. Number one, in the long run, we save money. Number two, we can tweak it to our palates, especially if we have cleansed ourselves and our palates kind of do a nice reset. And number three, we have the hydration and the electrolytes that we need for our bodies and our energy.
Yes.
You and I are on the same page. I don't do a whole lot of drinking. Every now and then I do like a beer, and I do and because it's a moment of celebration. Okay,
really?
It's gonna be a nice beer. Okay, but am I going to have that every month, every day? No, absolutely not. Okay, I might go ahead and once out of the month, maybe a couple times out of the month, I might get a decent beer, preferably something that I can't pronounce. But just something, because that's the treat and the reward.
But that said, it too, you make a good point. It's really making that choice, but you get to, like, if you do anything in excess, you don't really enjoy it. Even when we talk about exercise, I know I have clients that exercise to the full extent, push themselves, and they don't nourish their bodies like they should. They push themselves too much. At the same time, when you're talking about, I love ice cream. I love eating foods like that, but you get to enjoy it because it's part of your life. It's just a moment of enjoyment, and you can't be 100% all the time. And so the obvious, if you're actually taking care of yourself 85% of the time, exercising, eating right, 85, 90%, that 10% of your calories could be just what you want to enjoy during the week. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it's all based on, expectations and enjoying yourself. I know some guys take a scale to someone's house, so they don't go to someone's house for dinner because they're not eating the right types of foods, or they don't eat right. I mean, this is being present for the people around you. You want to participate in life. You don't want to be segregating yourself from life.
True. That's so very true. So let me ask you this. When we help individuals, so I know I have my own special programs. I have, I have the muscle maintenance and building program where we're not talking about bodybuilding, but we're helping individuals who realize that they need to strengthen themselves. And then I have detoxes, and of course, there's the natural weight loss, glucose reversal reduction, those sort of things. What steps do you use to help your clients?
Well, I try, what I do is I really meet with everybody individually first to really get present where their goals are, creating a possibility of what's possible for them so that we can put a why in there and a purpose, because we want to know exactly where they want to go. And I talk about putting a structure in place to be successful in that endeavor of learning a new skill set. We have weight loss program, and we actually can teach them how to eat the right types of foods. And then also the big point too is you mentioned about magnesium and certain nutrients. We need to understand how to get those nutrients in our body so that either from eating the right types of foods or proper supplementation. Educating someone how to eat the right types of foods and the voids in their program, we supplement. At the same time, how do we nourish the body with exercise, etc.? And then we actually have the same program. We actually educating doctors and chiropractors to be able to implement some of these programs in their offices. And we're looking at opportunities to really embrace the business community, to really embrace corporate wellness programs too. All this, we're talking about the same thing, but trying to get involved with more people to get people healthier. Because my wish for everybody is they're training for the performance of their life and really taking on a life like they never had before.
Yeah. It's so vital that people, we make it accessible to people. And that's the idea of having it from the corporate level down to the individual level, making things accessible. But first and foremost is the mindset of the person. What are they willing to do? And men are, while the argument can be made that this society is shifting from patriarchal to either patriarchal or matriarchal or somewhere in between, I don't know. The most important thing to understand is that men are still taking the lead and should not give up the idea of leadership. And the idea, you hear that phrase, lead by example. Well, yep. What example are we setting for our families? What example are we setting for our communities? Are we creating, living, and teaching a standard of manhood that includes our fitness and our wellness so that we can actually lift up people? You see,
absolutely.
That's what's so vital. So, Evan, Raoof, you yourself, you've walked your talk, so to speak. And that being the case, I really value the input that you've given here today. And I want to ask you one last question before we close out. With everything that you've been through in terms of your own growth, helping your family to grow, their health and things, and then now building a company that helps individuals in your area to increase their health and wellness, and now coming here and dealing and talking to the Crush Your Mountain community, that we're reaching people all over the world with. Here's my question, Evan, Raoof, what does it mean to you to crush your mountain?
Just being present for my family. Really crushing the mountain really is just being a leader in my community, in my family, as I talked throughout this presentation today, is really being present and helping more people find who they truly are in terms of their health and their wellness. And you mentioned it too, like an individual, we take a stand for our posture and who we are. And the more I can impact someone with their health, they can be present for what's most important to them. And to me, every individual I help, I crush it one brick at a time.
I love it. You know, one brick at a time, one stone at a time. But again, being present for those that matter most around you first. You know, that's kind of where I come from too. And so I respect that so much. I think about the fact that, you know, I have a wife, I have a son, and I have 6 amazing granddaughters. And I love them all. And, you know, when I think about the fact that 10 years from now, when I reach 40, you know, when I do, 10 years from now, when I reach 40, I want to be in still enough shape, with enough mobility to play with them. And I have a step grandson as well, and he's an amazing kid. And I want to be there too to help him likewise, because I want to impart to all of them that idea of what it means to be a man in a world where that concept in many ways is being glorified. You see, the idea of understanding that there's a standard that we have to maintain in terms of how we care for one another, protect one another, impart wisdom to one another, to all these things. And so I get it. But in order to do that, as you mentioned, as we talked about before, there has to be that mindset. We have to have the mobility. We have to have the right metabolism in order to do that. And certainly we have to build the muscle up around it. So I really want to thank you so very much for this. Tell us, where can my people or others find you in case we want to, you know, in case they're out your way and they need your expertise directly?
Well, you can find me at 𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒄𝒏𝒔 on Facebook and alignable.com, and then also 𝒂𝒏𝒔𝒄𝒏𝒔.com as well. On Instagram, all the handle for everything. So it's very simple. And, you know, I appreciate, Henry, you having me on today. You know, it is about mindset. It is about being present and also learning how to communicate to yourself and others to take a stand with what's most important in the world. Because, again, my wish for you and everybody else is we're all training for the performance of our life.
Yes, absolutely. So, again, friends, what we're going to tell you is this. Do what you can. Find your way of improving yourself for the better, building your wellness, building your fitness. And again, as I always say at the end of the show, once again, think deeply on how you're handling yourself and don't just climb your mountain, crush the road. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again, and take good care now.